3, 2, 1. There you go, Keone. And then I'm going to put it onto Facebook. Go.
Excellent. And salutations, everyone, and welcome. This is episode 6 of Design Therapy. It's really incredible. We've been going on for a year. This is officially our season 1. And, every week we grow and, we thrive on your feedback. And it's super, super exciting to grow with you guys. As always, we are your facilitators for today's session. I am your host, Keone Chong, Mary Gribbin, who may be checking in with us a little bit later, and our most illustrious co-host, Jose Caballer. So, as always, this episode is brought to you by Core Discovery, which is brand strategy foundations for growth and innovation. As always, we ask for you to like and subscribe. And we're starting something a little bit new, and I really want to talk about what design therapy is, just as a concept and why I even started design therapy. And it's important to note that design therapy is a social learning community. It's tools, frameworks, and guidance of design leadership to empower the next generation of creative thinkers and builders to redesign the world. So here's today's agenda. We're going to drop in. We always review and kind of show you where we're at. So the story so far. Then we'll do our drop in. It's our daily ritual of checking in with you. Then we move into the download, which will be the mindset that we really want to keep for today's session. Then we're going to have two of our most illustrious compañeros and compañeras. We're going to have Patricia and her partner, and they're going to model the exercise that we're going to review today. And today, what we're going to be doing is sharing our story. So we're going to be diving into breakout rooms, and we're going to practice sharing our story, and we're going to practice active listening with our partners who are sharing our story. We'll talk a little bit about the goals today, which is to really understand the themes that really are present within our stories and how those themes will reflect our purpose. We'll then dive into the upload, and we'll talk about, the takeaways of the day and what we want to take into the weekend and into next week. And then, as always, music and no cookies. Though I do have cookies because one of our partners, Barrett, made these incredible cookies. And man, I had like 15 of them last night. I had a couple of them for breakfast. So I've got cookies. You don't have to have cookies, but it's our chill session. It's where we're going to hang out and talk and connect and, chill. So let's dive into the story so far. And so, where we are at now, we have Core. Fire Kit is coming very soon. Will be coming in May. And Flow is in development. We have the Accelerator program, which I'll give you guys a sneak peek of today in our Music and No Cookies. And, just want to remind you that the Accelerator program is going to be launching. And based on some of the feedback today, some of you guys are going to get some invitations this weekend. So it's going to be really, really exciting. It's going to be $125 a month. Yearly, it's going to be $1,300. And then it, of course, will have all of the archives for our broadcast here. We'll have circles, which will be where we can actually put, all of our skills and experience into action, whether you're running Core for yourself or for another brand, whether you're in the middle of strategy and searching for some sort of help and guidance, and for our ability to connect with each other and really, take this community to the next level, whether it's going to be music playlists or me DJing live sets, movie nights and anime nights, yoga experiences, all of the fun activities to keep us healthy and sane and happy. So with that said, let's drop in. And what I'd like for you guys to drop in with is, it's a little bit of a recap from last week, but I felt like bringing it back again this week because we're really talking about our story and understanding where we are in our lives and where we are in our story. So I'll model that for you guys. My name is Keone Chong. I'm located in Los Angeles. And where am I in my creative journey? I believe that I have completed a full cycle and I'm back to the beginning of my hero's journey. As we know, it's fractal and it's cyclical. So we continuously live this journey and that adventure throughout our lives. And I feel like I have come full circle to a point where I am looking at the world and the way that it is operating, and I feel like it's wrong. And I feel like it needs a change. And I am driven to help um, produce tools and frameworks and help guide a community, ourselves here, to really prepare ourselves to design the future. I fervently believe that uh, we need more creatives of diverse backgrounds and cultural heritage to redesign the experiences that we have been so disenfranchised with in our current experience. So, whether that's architecture, whether that's policy, whether that's graphic design, whether that's film, you know, whether that's science, right? I fundamentally believe that the design industry as a whole uh, really needs to evolve. And I believe that each and every one of you guys on this call is part of that solution. So, with that said, I'd love to invite Jose to drop in, and I'd love for a couple folks in the audience to drop in.
Yeah, I'm Jose Caballer. I am in Los Angeles, California, and downtown. And where am I in my creative journey? I am at a place where I am okay with the fact that it's just been repeating over and over again, and like meaning the challenges, the the getting to what you want to accomplish, to your purpose, is a journey. It's a trip, a long trip, and the more that you commit to yourself, the more that I commit to myself, the more I commit to my own growth, the more I commit to being in my own truth, the more I commit to um, kingdom, is what I call it, um, the more that it moves forward in alignment with the people around me. So surrender, it's both surrendering your story to others by sharing it and accepting your story, not as, just pain, but also as what it is that is making me who I am. Instead of judging it as like, oh, that sucks that I had to go through that, or poor me, or poor Dominican kid. It's more like, oh, hey, no, that was what was supposed to happen, and I'm supposed to be here. So honored to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Um, I'd love to hear from a couple of the new folks, Rose, maybe, or Roxana. Would you guys like to come to the stage and share?
Sure, I can share.
Awesome. Go
So,
ahead.
I am Rose. I'm from Canada. As for my creative journey, I'm just in the beginning process. So, it's really just a discovery phase for me to realize where I kind of fit in the brand strategy niche, and just finding out what I'm good at. And so it's just mostly a discovery phase that I'm in right now.
Mm, awesome. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing, Rose. Confidence when we are speaking to the clients and building the relationships with those clientele. We reference repeatedly Jose's experience with EO and the CEO, Tom, and how that was a relationship that was built over years. And his ability to have confidence in being able to deliver expertise and impact, but also to have confidence in the value in pricing. All of these things were really a reflection of his journey and a reflection of his truest self. So, the challenge of authenticity and confidence in all of the work that we do really can be rooted in us having authenticity and confidence in the way that we live and build the relationships in our lives. So, let's dive into today's experience, and we're gonna have Patricia and Mauricio model that for us for about 10 minutes. And Patricia, if you can post the links to the documents. So there are two Google documents that I've created for you guys. Um, if you guys are just new to today's webcast and you haven't had a chance to fill in the story, there's a workbook that we have, and you can walk through that workbook with your partner, and you can just talk about the experiences that you may know at the time. And we have a sister document, which is a workbook on the notes that we're going to take. And so the goal is for us to spend 15 minutes to share our stories while your partner listens to the story. And for each chapter, they're pulling the themes. So Patricia and Mauricio will model that, but it's really important for us to understand why we structured this in the way that we did. It's really about being able to understand your or develop your facilitation skills. Now, this is super duper important when you are in a space of leadership and design. Uh, Being able to really actively listen to your partner or your client or your co creator or maybe creatives underneath you that you are responsible for. Really being able to not hear the words, but be able to listen to the meaning. Not only that, to be able to note important elements that come out of it. In this situation, we are going to be asking open-ended questions. Um, the stories that we should hear in each chapter, they should be deeply emotional. Um, and that's how you know that those chapters, stories are, or those experiences are really significant. And I gave you guys just a couple of prompts to be able to ask really powerful open-ended questions. So these are questions that you don't want to have simple answers of a yes or no. Um, but these are things like what about that experience made you feel this way, or what about that experience made you feel like it was part of this chapter in your journey, or tell me how you felt when. These are great open-ended questions. I use these as prompts for clients when we're doing design reviews. What about this design really resonates with you? Or tell me how you felt when you saw this logo as opposed to that logo. Those open-ended questions really give powerful insights and really help you identify the themes. So at the end of the document, what I would love for you guys to do is to begin to draft your why statement. And the best way that I suggest doing it is after telling your story, you guys spend 5 minutes, and whoever was telling the story, they draft their own why statement, and the person that was listening drafts their own why statement. And you do those separately and then present them together. The way that the why statement is presented or formulated goes like this: you have contributions and you have impacts. So here's an example. If Martin Luther King were to talk about his story, the themes that would come out of it is about inspiration and love and respect. Those would be the contribution. The impact that he wants, which is like the world that he sees and the change that he wants to create, it would be uh, so that everybody's treated equally. As he says in his "I Have a Dream" speech, he says that he has a dream where little black boys and little black girls can hold hands with little white girls and little white girls, and they can call each other brother and sister. So, in all of his speeches and all of his um, vision statements, he's talking about a world in which there is equanimity. So, that would fit in the so that statement. And so, what I want to do is I want to show you guys really quickly um, my example and how that reflects into a why statement. And this is here. So for those of you guys that have been on this call for a while, you guys know my story. I've shared it a couple times, and we did that last week. Um, if you look at the themes that are coming from my story, you can see that I've been focused on building cultures, innovating brands, integrating value into products. I've been hacking systems, building inclusiveness, and building creative teams. The impact is that I've been seeing is that the future is culturally divergent and fun. So that art and culture, the future of brands, as opposed to being, marketing or advertising campaigns, um, and really influencing the culture to be more diverse. So you can see how my why statement is pulling these themes together and how that can craft a why statement. So what I would like to do now is invite Patricia and Mauricio to the stage so they can share and model their experience in this exercise.
Thanks, Keone.
Yeah.
So basically what Mauricio and I did, we just read the document and then we tried to share and give each other 15 minutes to talk about and to listen to each other. So what the exercise as a guide, what I did as a few prompt questions to start us off is, uh, as you can see from the document of design therapy, the PowerPoint one, from chapter 1. So there's a question there where, uh, what is your earliest memory and how were you raised? And so we started with that question first, just to get to know each other a bit and getting into our why. So Mauricio, are you there?
I am.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
So let's start. So from maybe to start, we said, what is your early? So Mauricio, what is your earliest memory and how were you raised?
Okay. So my earliest memory is being on my dad's best friend's shoulders. We were in a park. I remember he walks me next to a tree, and I'm like playing with leaves or something. Probably like 4 or 3 years old. That's it. Just remember being very happy. That's my first memory.
And how would you think that connects to your company now, the Love brand? Like how do you feel like how you were raised with what and what you do, how it influences it?
Well, I was raised, how to put it? There was a lot of bullying in my childhood, and I didn't I felt very frustrated about it. Mm, I always wanted to help or to do something about it, yet it wasn't exactly easy to do so. Um, so
Real quick question. Sorry to interrupt you, Mauricio. Keone,
okay.
are
Yeah.
we taking notes of that? Because what I'm seeing on the screen is you doing chapter 1, the departure, but it's what Patricia's asking Mauricio getting noted so that we can see it. Like, how are we annotating this? If you're facilitating Mauricio, is this just open-ended questions or are we writing these down?
Yes. So you're writing them down. There's what I suggest doing is in the Google Doc, you have in the
Got
exercise.
it. So you're manning what we get to see. So
Exactly.
we weren't looking at the Google Doc. So
So the
that's
Google Doc has this section here where you write in, feelings and themes,
cool.
and you ask them based on the workbook.
So got it. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to get it because I know I'm going to do it in a second. So go back to that, Keone. Like what you were showing there. Yeah. Can we leave it there where Patricia's doing it? And Patricia, can you write notes in it? It's a live demo, is what I'm saying, like of the process.
So the document is locked, but I'll write.
You unlock it then, yeah. Unlock it for all of us to see it. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure that we're getting clarity.
Yeah.
From the executive producer booth, I don't know what's going on, and I'm confused because my ADD is very powerful.
But Keone, are
yes.
we doing it right? Like the prompting, the start of prompts, like for the hero story?
Totally.
Okay.
Okay.
So what I heard in that feeling, you felt the freedom of play and the leaves, you know, and freedom. So there was a lightness to it. So the themes are kind of like the attributes, like play, freedom, you know, all those things. Love, right? And then the next question, and do these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 have to map to exactly, like, so if you were to write then like number 1, feeling, because that's the ordinary world, like you're just a boy in the world and you know you're going about the unsettled feeling of unease, which is the second part in the hero's journey. Number 2, you started saying something about being bullied or being like treated other, right? Is that correct?
Seeing lots of bullying.
Or seeing a lot of it, so that seeing that there wasn't a lot of kind of justice almost like in the world.
And that anybody that try to stand up for themselves or for others, like that was not a good thing. Like you had to just stand by, basically.
Got it. So I get it now. So the feeling of incomplete and insufficient, or the ordinary world feeling, was freedom and fun.
The word in Spanish
there was
is
a lot of bullying.
impotencia.
That's part of the first one. The call to adventure is the second one. So I think that freedom, fun, seeing bullying, and justice, all of those go in column 1, Patricia. So freedom and fun, but seeing that there was something, you know, that there was something wrong, right? So that's number 1. You're going around your ordinary world, but you feel like there's something wrong. Got it. And then the second one is the call, and then Patricia, continue. Got it. I'm trying to correlate it to each chapter of the 12 chapters.
You got
Thank you so much, guys, for indulging me and understanding.
Yes, it's an experiment.
Yeah, you guys are doing
and we're learning as we go.
This is live. So here's an example of that. If there's a discomfort or a lack of understanding, you make the request. I'm not understanding it. And you also make it soft, and you don't make it feel like, Patricia, you're fucking up. Like you're not doing it right. No one's screwing up. It's just what is. And you just course correct it and you make it move. That's a master skill in leadership, because that's how you build Burning Man camps, which is all I care about, really. That's a joke. I am kidding. All right, continue.
Okay, so I think we can move on to chapter 2, the call. Would that be okay with you, Mao?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So think about when you were called to do something, when you could have do or be something more meaningful, but you never thought about that change before. Is there something that resonates with you?
Okay, yeah. Actually, and because we did this already, but now it makes even more sense. Story I told you then, I was, and this happened several times across my childhood and when I was in high school too, with like art teachers. They would ask me to do like specific things or projects or stuff like that. But I mean, I did do them. I did participate, but I always saw it as like, I don't know, kind of just following the steps. Like I was very bad student. So it's like, okay, is this gonna like get me out of trouble, out of all the trouble I am at? It's like, yes, okay, then I'll do it. But I never saw more to it than that. So yeah, that happened quite a bit growing up with like art related stuff.
And And I wanted to ask with in terms of your art, how did you get into design and how were you put in that path?
Um, actually, the first time I ever used, uh, probably the first 2 years of me using Photoshop was making memes in school. That's it. That's how I learned how to use Illustrator and how to use Photoshop. We used to sit in the back and like the computer or class thingy just to make memes. Um, and that's how I learned how to like use all this software and stuff.
Mm,
So you're self-taught.
Yeah.
That's great. That's amazing. I thought you went to college and did
Oh
all
no,
this.
I
It's on
dropped
your
out.
own.
Yeah, I dropped
Wow,
out of high
so
school and stuff.
inspiring.
Yeah.
There you go, Keone. I think we've modeled it a few questions in, so
perfect.
we're
Yeah,
good.
awesome. So what we're going to do is, and let me just pull back up the right deck. What we're going to do is we're going to spend about the next half hour, 35 minutes, and we're going to set together one-on-one rooms. So private breakout rooms where you guys can hop in and you guys will be able to actually go through this exercise yourself. I don't expect for you guys to finish today, but what I really want to do is to take the time today for you guys to actually start um, doing the work today, and then working on it throughout the week. And the goal is, again, for you to get comfortable in telling your story and starting to execute this. Now, the way that we're going to do the breakout rooms is it's going to be random. Jose, you're going to handle the breakout rooms right now, right? Perfect. And then, so while the breakout rooms are going to go on, Jose and I, we're actually going to model this um, in the video. So in the replay, we'll be the ones that you guys can see, and we'll be walking through our story. We'll be modeling this for you guys. So you guys will be able to watch the replay and use it as a standard and as a guide while you guys complete this. So the goal is by next week, I would love for everyone on the broadcast today to be able to share their why. And I'm like super excited. Like I'm smiling right now just thinking about it. Like I'm really excited to hear you guys like kind of dive into that. So that is the goal for today. We're going to spend half an hour and just start to anchor in. You guys are probably going to get through maybe half of it, and that's totally fine. The goal isn't to complete the exercise today, it's just to get started so that you guys can work on it yourselves. Sound good for everyone? Get some thumbs up. Boom, let's get some thumbs up. Awesome. So I'm going to play a little bit of music, and Jose, take it away. Let's set the breakout rooms.
So Cliff asked if they're random. So yes, the portal jump is going to be like you're going to end up in a room with someone. Keone and I will have to make our way back out to the lobby potentially. So it's a little messy sometimes, so bear with us. And one thing to remember, I mean, it's just doing the exercise, getting to know each other. Whether you're doing it right or wrong, it matters less than just enjoying and enjoy being together. But try your best. Here we go. Let's try this out. So we have 27 people. Keone and I are going to stay in the main room, but we will have to come back. So 27 divided into 2. It's an odd number. So we need 12 breakout rooms. That's a portal jump. Standing by automatically. Oh, Joe, got it. Yeah, I'm gonna do 10 and see who gets left out. Whoever gets left out will end up in the lobby. Repeat.
We'll do Roxana and Michael, and then Cassie and Joe.
You want Roxana here and Michael. Got it.
Mhm.
So breakout room 4. You guys are gonna go into breakout room 4. So Roxana, Michael Marlowe, move to room 4. You're going to room 4. And then Roxana, you're going to go to room 4. Room 4. There you go.
Thanks.
And then Cassie, you're going to go to room 3 with, who are you going with? Joe.
Cassie, Joe.
And Joe. Got it.
Mhm.
Room 3. Here you go. Good matching there. Room 3. Actually, no, I'm going to put you guys in room 10. There's nobody in there. So
Okay.
Cassie and Joe will go to room 10. Boom. There you go. You guys are in room 10. Let me join room 2 to find out from them how they're doing. Keone, you can bring up the exercise that you want to do with me. Michael Marlowe, you have to join. You have to join Roxana, Michael. If you're still in here, it's because you haven't joined. You have to accept it. You're already in it. There's a little button that's coming up in the interface that you need to do it. Michael, do you hear me? Michael. He's not hearing me.
Mm. So he may.
Why don't you jump in there with her and model it?
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to invite me into the room?
Yeah, I'm gonna move you to room 4.
Oh, will music stop if I go?
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right. And here we are, Michael. Just you and me. So now that we're all here by ourselves, I'm gonna jump into a room and help some people.
to now is kind of get, you know, feedback from
Make it
everyone.
work. I'm gonna check it before you go.
So, you know, we didn't get a chance to really get into the juicy details. But within that, you know, within that a little bit of time, you know, I was working with Roxana, and we really started to get into some really interesting insights. And so what I'd love to hear from everyone, if you can post it in the chat, is like what your feedback was. And if anyone would love to come on the stage and kind of share their experiences, I'd love to hear. And you guys can do that by like raising your hand. Bjorn, you know, like you had some, you were like right away, like, this is so cool. Bjorn, would you like to share, bro?
Unmute. Yeah, it was cool. We got about like 60% through her story. We were kind of bullshitting in the beginning. Shouldn't have been wasting that time, but it was hard to just like actively listen and not respond. And like, instead of trying to think about what you want to say, just like focus all that energy into taking notes at the same time as listening. So that was kind of challenging for me, especially taking notes, you know, digitally when you're kind of like futzing around with the PDF editor instead of just scrawling something out.
Right.
So, but yeah, I really liked it. I think it was cool. Should do
That's
it again.
awesome. And you know, I'm gonna take those insights. You know, here's what I'll do. Over the weekend, I'll put together like a document that you could print out. You know, I think an easier way to kind of facilitate this is like having pen and pad to be able to, you know, just write down the notes instead of doing it digitally.
Yeah, I saw Jose was able to like extend his, which was cool. I was sitting there trying to like size the dialogue box right the whole time. So it's just like mine's pretty messy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I liked it.
That's awesome, man. And you know, one of the things too, one of the insights that I got from you is, you know, the challenge in active listening. You know, it's a real skill that we have to develop. And you know, I wish that it was something that you know, like we were taught in school, but we're not taught to actively listen. We're taught to respond. When we hear something, we're supposed to respond right away, and that can make it really difficult for us to like build that meaningful understanding and like really mine for those insights.
Yeah, you're too busy like trying to think about what you want to say in response to the other person instead of like actually processing what they just said.
Yeah. So. And you know, and it takes practice. But when we really develop those skills, we really start to see the impact of that in the way that we facilitate design, you know, particularly in leadership. You know, I really believe like leadership is all about creating like a little sandbox for the people that you're in charge of, for them to be able to create and develop. And for you to be able to provide that space, you really have to listen and understand. But thank you so much for sharing, man. That was really powerful.
You're welcome.
I'd love to get anyone else up on the stage and to share.
Share a few thoughts.
Marlene, Cousin Marlene wants to jump up too, Keone.
Yeah, Marlene, welcome.
I know, I'm usually a lurker. I'm really good at lurking. I had the most wonderful experience working with Shaquille. Thank you so much. So I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I still feel like I need a lot of practice. And he was so gracious and supportive and a great listener, unlike my bird. And he helped move us through, I think, maybe 4 chapters. It was pretty amazing. So Shaquille, so grateful. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you for non-lurking today, Marlene. You came in at just the right time.
Thank you, Keone.
Absolutely. And I would love to hear from anyone else that is open to sharing. You know, you guys can raise your hand or you can just hop on stage. It's open.
Keone.
Yo, what's up, Cliff?
So just really quick, just to share a few thoughts. I agree with what Papa said in the chat. It is actually really tough. And from my end, the tough part of it is getting over the self-awareness of like, okay, am I doing this right? Is he receiving what I'm saying in a way that's understandable? And for me, that was the toughest part. And once I jumped over that hump, we could really, so I partnered with Mark. And once we got over that hump, we could really jump into his story. And another thing that I realized is that it doesn't necessarily have to be a straight linear telling of the story. You can kind of jump to the significant parts in the person's story that were very impactful. Like, Mark, do you mind if I share the music anecdote from our session? So Mark was actually a signed artist at a label, and he was going down that path for a while. But the refusal to call for him was he quit because he didn't really see, he wasn't sure about being able to make it in music, and he didn't want to be put in a position where he didn't have stable financial base. So from there, I think we got to number 8, and we just kind of, I had to make sure that I was listening in a way where I could really hear what he was trying to communicate, even though he might give specifics, like kind of hard fact specifics about what he's saying, what's behind the emotions and feelings that happened at the time. Like being at his first job where he got to enact core, but then finding out that after core was done, being put in a position where it was back to the production design type work, and what his career looks like beyond that, and being in a role where he can take charge and really put forth his whole creative self instead of being put back in the position of repetitive production type work.
Wow, powerful insights, man. Mark, if you want to hop on, because I know that you guys are partners, what was that experience for you? Being able to tell your story and to hear, somebody else kind of pull the themes from your experiences.
It's kind of weird. I usually don't like talking about myself, so that's kind of odd. And I've been doing this week, so I sell stuff on Etsy, and I just hit 4,000 sales. I was like, maybe I should post about this. I talked to my friend about it that I jam with, and he's like, yeah, man, people need to hear that stuff. There's so much bad things going on in the world. Show the good stuff that you're doing. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I should. So I ended up posting that, and out of that, I kind of wrote down, you're talking about your why. And so I make all these board game accessories. They're kind of premium high-end board game accessories. And I was like, I think my why is just during the whole pandemic and COVID and everything. I was like, oh, I hope I quit my job right like the week but COVID hit. So I was like, oh, great, going full time. COVID hit. So I ended up just designing my butt off, and then I kind of thought about it. I was like, I just kind of bring a little bit of joy to people's world. I was like, when you pull out these pieces to play these games, people play games to enjoy them and have fun. You gather with the people and when you pull these pieces out, it's just a little bit of joy that it adds. You want to show people talk about it. A lot of my marketing is just word of mouth. I still do marketing, but my philosophy was always, if it's good enough, people will talk about it. Make it remarkable.
Right.
So I just trying to make remarkable pieces, and then they.
Oh, did we lose Mark?
I think we lost Mark.
Oh, Mark froze for a little bit.
Right here.
Oh, and he's back.
Oh yeah, there we go. But I was trying to talk about the experiences. It was good. It's a little weird. I don't know. Talking about myself is a little weird. but yeah, it's good. I like being in this group and being able to talk about it. So yeah.
You know,
sorry,
ahead,
I was
Jose.
going to say something I want to illustrate what I got inspired from what you said when you speak and you share your story. And this is, you did it in private rooms, but imagine when you're saying it in the broadcast to other people, you get inspired. You're like, I left my job. I started selling stuff on Etsy, and my friends were telling me that I should listen to it. I hit this milestone. What it was saying to me is like, oh, it's okay for me to be a designer, but also teach online and sell kits and do all these things, because we judge ourselves and we have lack of confidence because we think that we're breaking away from the norm. And when you start learning that there is no norm by sharing your stories and you saying, oh my God, I'm feeling insecure, but this is what I'm doing, somebody else can be touched, moved, and, have their lives impacted by what you're saying by just sharing your story. And I know we're all wallflowers and we're all designers and we stand in the party in the back listening to, Depeche Mode, like I'm talking about myself in the 90s, the 80s, and you don't want to really go talk to people. But the reality is that if you step forward and you show your face and you show who you are and you share your story, the world opens up.
Yeah. And just to add to that point, this is how we align with the powerful clients. They want to see people that are driven by purpose. They want to work alongside creatives that have this passion for the work that they do, and they reflect the values in the way that they live and work. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Mark. Arsenije, I'd love to have you come up, brother.
So I want to share before I was with Pape, but I was basically last week, I was thinking how I want to invite Pape on my podcast because he's designer and also doing core. So that's what I wanted to present to my community. And I was discussing with my girlfriend about Pape, and first thing crazy, I was matched with Pape. So I guess that had a lot of impact on me being relaxed, because I was like, fuck it, so if we so I now need to, I don't have needs to to hide anything. And I guess that helped me to basically, we were all over the place, but I think I like that, because Jose in some video, I don't know where, said basically that when he was creating core, it was like unpacking his mind. And last time when I was doing core for my girlfriend brand, I was basically, first time I was doing it without complete structure, and then I realized that it is powerful when you can achieve it. So in a sense with Pape, it was more without structure, but at the end it somehow we went full circle. And I really felt that even though I went to therapy, I felt that in 30 minutes, like with Pape helped me connect, like from the start to the end. Like it's like I don't know how to explain, but it's like complete match.
Yeah. I understand everything you said, right? Like some people would be like, what did he just say? I don't know, because I'm you and I'm Pape and I'm Keone, and we all can like flow, right? But one of the things for us to learn from this experience is that by structuring someone's flow, because your clients are going to be like that and you're going to be scared because entrepreneurs are like, ah! But imagine this possibility: when we are each other's clients, when we're supporting each other to structure our stories so that we can manifest exactly what she said, when we can manifest our own ideas by being empathetic and compassionate with each other and allowing each other to listen and to help, put structure to our ideas without the judgment of you're crazy or like you're like really like, oh, because when you say that, switch and say I'm saying this about myself. Every time you like judge a creative person or somebody, you're judging yourself because you're that. So that's the thing to understand, and especially in the world that we're going in, where we're working with creative entrepreneurs who are doing new ideas that might sound insane, So that's the lesson I think that I'm hearing from Pape and from Arsene and Jay. Like, collaborate. You guys are brothers, man. You're in two different countries and worlds, but you're the same person, the same character in the same story, with the same smile, going like, oh man, yeah, we're crazy, but we're doing it.
I just felt that it's like double basically when I started working on the movie sets, I had like really good experience. So I feel this is like the same way in a brand, and that way, because now I have like most powerful experience that probably I will try to replicate further down the road. So
one thing that I noticed is that I had no information about like percentages, no context, you know. And I think what Keone said the last time was that the best way to approach like a core was without any information. So it forced me to like really listen and understand like what he was saying. And also one thing that is really important to do before any core session is to make the other person feel comfortable. So what I was doing was just asking questions from the beginning and telling like Arsenije, like, do you feel comfortable talking to me? Like, I know we don't know each other, just breaking the ice a little bit. And then he would just like said like, you know what, I'm ready, let's go for it. And I would say if I had to guess the conclusion of the movie, it would be that Arsenije, he wants to change the educational system so that kids can grow to become the person they want to be. That's my conclusion of the story, I think. I need 30 more minutes, but I think that's where it's heading.
Yo, yeah. So this was just supposed to be, you know, like really a kickoff for you guys to be able to, you know, get it started and then connect a little bit later in the week. I would love to hear from a couple of the ladies. Roxana and I, we had a session together, or maybe Mila, you know, if you guys are comfortable coming on stage and sharing. Mila, why don't you hop on stage?
Hey, so I was talking with Emily. We have very similar kind of stories. Talking about bring your baby to work and balancing career with everything that's going on. We identify as American. I was explaining my hat that doesn't fit me. That's actually my son's that I was just borrowing. But yeah, it was fun getting to know her. And I explained to her, like, I haven't been here. I was on vacation for like a month. So I came back and I was like, okay, how do I catch up with everything? And she like really caught me up to speed with everything. And like you guys mentioned, yeah, I hadn't met her this whole time since I think I started last year, and just like getting to know her. I'd love to just finish talking with her about everything. I think we got up to chapter 4, so we did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's awesome. Any insights on your journey that you were able to pull?
On the journey, not from me. How about you, Emily? What do you think? Where is she?
She's there. She's laughing. She's surrounded
like,
right now with the little ones. Yeah.
She wants to go to Japan, so she's gonna go to Japan next. That's so cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much for sharing, Mila. And then one more, Rose. Would you like to come up and share?
So for me, I haven't done core, so I was actually a little confused. We just did telling our stories, and I tried to pull from there, but I was actually a little bit lost.
Okay, so and you know, I'm actually glad that I called on you, so then we can like kind of clarify. So right now, this isn't core. What we're really focused on is your purpose and how your story aligns with your purpose. So this exercise is about being able to look at your story and to put it in a hero story format so that you can understand how your origin story and the themes within it will really define your why, right? When you have that why, which, as I mentioned earlier, and I definitely think you should just check out the replay, your why leads to this, you know, infinite vision, this horizontal vision of the future. How you get there, the what, is what core does, right? And so knowing and anchoring into your purpose and then being able to execute core, that will really kind of help build that vehicle for you to kind of help you achieve and really drive you towards whatever it is that you want to change in the world, your just cause, and the thing that you're passionate about.
Okay, so yeah, I was trying to do like questions to get more deeper into the why, but I think because it was a bit disoriented at the start. I think if there's a little bit more time to dig into the questions, then it would have got to that point where the why was more clear. But
Yeah.
I know it's more about asking the right questions so you can get to that root quicker, not quicker, easier.
Yeah. And I think it's really about doing it in the most authentic way. And I think the best way for us to understand our why is to really understand our lives and our journey, and to look at our experiences. You know, the themes and the answers are in our lives, right? And as I always say, the hero's journey is cyclical. It's this thing that constantly cycles through in our experiences. So thank you so much for sharing. So I would love, if Joe is still here, if he could come to the stage and kind of just share his insights before we move into the last bit of today's broadcast.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Joe?
I am here. Saying my internet is unstable, so let me know if I'm cutting off.
Okay, you're good for now, right now.
Yeah,
that's a judgment. You know, they shouldn't judge your internet for just being a little bit, you know, crazy. It's okay. Continue. Sorry.
I think he froze.
Oh, you called it.
I'm still frozen, or you guys?
No, you're good. You're back.
You're back.
Oh, I guess I'm frozen.
Oh, no,
yes, I mean, yes, I don't know what's going on with my internet.
We'll listen patiently. Keep on going. We have to learn to listen. Just go. We can just pause and wait for him to come back.
There we go. Get some tunes while we wait.
Yeah.
Lumbar disc herniation is a severely painful.
Lumbar disc herniation. That's what my why is Instagram giving me that ad?
Oh, Joe.
He'll come back. We can wait. We can fill it in.
Oh, you're back. Can you speak?
Unmute yourself, John.
Um,
To. There you go.
All right, I'll give it a shot. If not, just carry on. No, I think this is this was great. I mean, just seeing the more. My favorite part is hearing the other side of the hearing everybody's experience of that. And I think it's just hearing our stories and hearing ourselves and each other, and just being authentically connected to each other and our own story. I think it's empowering in and of itself. Like, even aside from like mapping it and all that, just the process of opening up to another human being and just seeing ourselves in them and them seeing ourselves in us. I think is just wonderfully nourishing to the soul, really. And just seeing the community that evolves from that. That's just my experience, seeing everybody here and talking and connecting, and just as in the throughout the weeks, everybody just having the space to just open up, connect, and see their story unfold. I think is awesome. I love it. That's just from my vantage point, what I'm seeing. And look, well, I don't know what Pape's saying there, but what you got there, Pape? Oh, there you go. Yeah. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Joe, man, you you already know I appreciate you being here every week, and your guidance on helping us really craft this for everyone. So thank you, man, and thank you so much for your insights. So what I would love to do is we're going to dive into the upload for today. And as always, the upload is sort of the mindset that and reflection of what we covered today and what I'd like for you guys to take into the next week. So for those of you that are familiar with Jim Rohn, he's speaks on productivity and success and self-development a lot, and he has this powerful quote that really resonated with me and I thought was perfect for us as we look back on our lives and our experiences, and how all of those all of these journeys, really have brought us to where we are now. And it goes like this: success is not so much what we have as it is what we are. And I want for you guys to think about that this week as you guys connect with your partners and as you guys finish this exercise. We are powerful enough right now to change the world. We're growing, we're always growing, but you have enough right now. And the key takeaway is that you are enough. You are always enough. And so with that, I just want to give you guys a little sneak peek as we prepare to launch the Accelerator. I'll be sending out you guys some invitations this weekend for you guys to dive in and check that out. But this is what it's looking like. And I'm really excited. Jose gave me, his archive, and he handed it to me. And I don't know if you guys saw Will Smith when he got the black book, but I felt the power. I felt like I was the golden child. I was like, oh my gosh, here it is. And so we have all the crazy documents, all the creative briefs, statements of work, all the incredible work that he's done, over the last few years of his career, that we're going to start sharing. I'm going to share some of mine as well. They're not as exciting, but the point is we want to give you guys confidence in the work that you're doing. And we want to show you that when you peek behind the curtain of Oz, it's really not that spectacular. We can all do it. And, really
and everybody also sharing their own stuff. One of the things we're going to inside the community is like, hey, just share like what you have. And it's building up to a community that helps build itself. Right. Yeah. That's what we are.
Exactly. So, as always, we want to remind you that the core tribe, we're currently core brand strategy fundamentals, but we're going to change it to foundations because I believe foundations is a better, smoother way to kind of explain, what core presents. And so, like always, we remind you to like and subscribe so you can stay tuned for more crazy, wacky, fun content just like this.
And it's funny because this content actually works really well, like when you're here and when you participate. Watching it on YouTube is not the same, though people do watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just coming come again. It's really about being here. It's not about like watching this as content. But we're getting better at content creation, but we're not really, our jam is live. That's really ultimately what happens. And I'm really grateful and proud of every single one of our community that are here who we're working with. Keone, broadcasting every week, and Patricia being such an amazing soul. Leos are powerful. I come just to bask in her energy. That's my Friday. Like I'm just here for Patricia's energy.
Let it wash over you.
Let it wash over you and feel.
Wait, I'm a Libra though.
Oh, even crazier.
There it is.
Yeah. No, I was talking about Leos being crazy, but no, it's good. I talk about Libra. It's that power of the balance. Anyway, milk and cookies. Take it away, Keone.
Yeah, guys. So, just leaving the floor open for a little bit to chat and connect. Let me go get my cookies because I got them.
Go get your cookies and the mic is open. So anybody wants to share stories, whatever. Milk and cookies is conversation time around the campfire. Your show. What's your sign and what did you enjoy about today? Caller, come in.
Boom.
I want to say something. So I had like my 5th therapy session last night, and I was talking about the system and everyone here, and how I had talked to a friend earlier this week who she does more like communication strategy, so still brand strategy but more communication focused, and she kept asking me why, like why are you better, like why are you like what shows that you're better than like other brand strategists out there? And I was like, I don't know. And then like talking to my therapist about it, I was telling her about these origin stories, and she was, you know, really like challenged me to recognize like how our origin is really what makes us different, and to accept that. And I just thought, you know, like my story is really not that unique or like exciting. So what, like, I feel like normal, you know, in comparison to other people, but just to remember that clients see us as experts. That's why they're talking to us, and give us yes, exactly, limiting beliefs, which Shaquille always calls me out on, which I love it. But yeah.
So
Shaquille, you should get a little like thing, and I'm gonna go woo woo woo, limited beliefs, police. Whenever anybody says anything, pull over.
I need like a little a towel or something, you know, like we're at a soccer match.
Create the flag, Shaquille, and then
I
wave
love
it.
it. I love it. We need to get little limiting beliefs.
I have yellow masking tape. That's the best I got at my desk right now. Which is how I organize footage post-production. Or
if you have sticky notes.
So thank you so much for that share, Cassie. You know, one thing, and I have arguments all day with folks, particularly on Facebook, because I'm in a few brand strategy communities, and everyone's always like, oh, core this, core is the framework, or it's not a framework, or it's just a tool, or it's just discovery in it. Core is brand strategy, period, end of discussion. Here's what is different about core than any other brand strategy framework out there. A, it's designed by practitioners, people who are responsible for launching companies and pivoting companies. So not just marketers who come in and they say, okay, well, we're going to create this crazy marketing campaign for you, and we're going to design what your brand should be. Brands should be co-created with their audiences. They shouldn't go out there and tell them who their audience is, right? So core is really brand strategy for innovation. It's worked with startups that are trying to get off the ground. It's worked with startups in all kinds of emerging markets and different business models. I've worked on it in cannabis. I've worked on it in AI. Jose has extensive experience in cryptocurrency. I've done it with solopreneurs. You know, like we can just go down the list and talk about all of the businesses that we've launched with it that are successful now, companies that we've been able to pivot, $70 million CPG companies that have been able to pivot using it. And what I think is most important is most brand strategy is built on this legacy concept of what marketing and advertising is. Marketing and advertising, as we used to know it prior to the 21st century, was a one-dimensional thing, right? It was, I'm going to tell you who we are and why you should buy with us because this is radio, television, and print, and you cannot communicate or tell us what you think that they should be or what we actually are. That day and age is gone. Here we are in the 21st century. Everything that we do is conversational. Brands are growing in conversational ways. And if you look at the brands that are really excelling now, these are the brands that have healthy relationships with their community and they give and take feedback, right? They co-create their products and their services alongside. Why do we see the direct-to-consumer market blowing up? It's because they are building direct relationships with their audiences and they're building based on what the audience is telling them. It's an exercise in co-creation. What other brand strategy out there is asking for you to design with data, to design with your audience? I'll wait, right?
That's a good. It is user experience based design, and it's definitely, or brand. It's definitely new. But you know what? At the end, you guys power it. So that's the one thing that we're doing in this session or in these sessions of, like, if you find your origin story, if you find your own voice, if you find your power and you wield it using core, it becomes a lot easier, because a lot of people always ask, how can you facilitate so well? How can you guide with so much certainty? And it's always comes from your ability to connect. It comes
Yeah.
from your ability to connect to what's happening in front of you. It comes intuition, wisdom. All of that is the embodiment of who we are and what we absorb and we listen. You are not just the facilitator, you are the manifestation engine, or let's use a non-woo-woo term. You are the creator. You are the designer. Ooh, designer. How about that one? You are the designer of the reality of your clients and of your own reality. So you have to go both ways, right? Go inward to create your own story, go outward to create the story of your client. And where those two merge is the secret of the system, which is the co-creation of new ideas and new brands. The 21st century requires you to dance with the people around you, right? So it's a very like Latin and like, you know, it's a very ethnic kind of place we're going when it comes to the creation of brands. Not coincidental, you know, not coincidental. Because authenticity really comes from the ability to like be together.
My internet cut off there for a second, so I'm not sure, Jose, if you mentioned this, but one thing that just from my vantage point that I think is really awesome about Core and the power that it has, having seen Core from the other side when I used to work as a brand strategist consulting, and is the power that it's cool because and this is why these exercises, even though design therapy is more about the individual journey, but it's in essence the same exact thing that you were pointing to, Keone, where the brand and the customer, the same way that we're seeing each other here reflected on one with each other, where we and it's the same hero's journey, and we're identifying with each other, and in that way finding that which aligns us. The same thing was with creating a brand in the 21st century is not top down, it is co-created, and the brand is a reflection of the customer is a reflection of the brand, and they are basically, in essence, the same exact being, if you will.
Yeah, it's the integration.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think if you come from a traditional advertising background or marketing background, what you're taught is how to build brands and based on 20th century principles. And, you know, look, the age of globalization is gone. We're moving into this age of collectivism. And so that means that your values are going to be more important than your unique selling proposition. And when that happens, that means that brands need to live in their authenticity. And they need to be making decisions based on their values, not based on shareholder value. And that's a scary prospect for advertisers whose entire careers, they thought that they could just create a product to make money and sprinkle some emotion on it like Salt Bay, and think that that was good enough to, you know, create a livelihood for themselves. And we're shifting, you know, we're entering into this renaissance. And, you know, it's going to be crazy times. But guess what, everyone? You guys are the future.
And I would say also one thing that I've been noticing is the more like companies or startups that are purpose driven, and usually this purpose is helping someone else or like fixing or helping someone with their needs. And with that, I was listening to a podcast today of this cinematographer that he realized the system of making movies was just like so corrupt that most of the people that were getting the money out of films were not like the filmmakers or the producers or people that were doing the movies. So he created this marketplace for creators. And he was, as I was listening to him, he was just like talking about Core and how he was only driven by the needs of his community. And it's how his community started building and making all the marketing and all the revenue. It was coming from the community. And something that I heard that I think is really special is that he said that he wouldn't work with someone that didn't align with his purpose or their values. So I think having Core as an asset helps you a lot to, I mean, you don't have to align with their values, but if you're designing for someone, you're answering their questions. So being able to listen clearly to their story, their purpose, and being able to just like align to that without, it's better if you believe it, but if not, being able to listen and understand where they come from will put you in like in a higher way to deliver value to them, you know?
Absolutely, man. And you named it, man. He's like, I can't align myself with anyone that doesn't work in my values. I think one of the great canaries in the mine highlights in our world is how political constituencies are starting to operate. And across the world now, globally, we are watching countries aligning themselves no longer on the ability to make money together, but on the shared values. And we're going to see more and more of that. It's happening across, global politics. It's happening within economies here in the United States. And we're going to see it just really accelerate. And really what that means is those creative thinkers, those creative builders, those of you guys that are sitting right here in this audience, you guys have the power to really transform these experiences for the future. And it all starts with your story and your superpowers. So on that note, guys, we ran a little bit late, but we felt the Holy Spirit today. So, I want to bid everyone adieu, and hope you guys have an incredible weekend. And as always, you guys are loved, you guys are powerful, you guys are limited only by your imagination. Peace, y'all.